What's good, soul family? How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? It's Jaya Fire back with another video, period. We back with another video. I know it's been like a little minute. I've been going through my own little thing lately, but I'm back. I'm better. I feel good. So we're gonna get back into the sweet tea. Energy is all over the place, but yeah, we're gonna get back into the little sweet tea. And today we're gonna talk about mental abuse, and we're gonna touch on different perspectives, parents, relationship, the person dealing with the mental abuse, and the person that's giving out the mental abuse. So let's get into that.
Them no know, them no know, them no know. Send me a real top girl. Them fi know me a real top girl, real top girl, real top girl. Me can do it natural.
Okay, so you guys probably wondering what's in this cup. No, it's not orange juice. I mean, it is orange juice, but it's not straight orange juice. It's a little rum in here to keep things spicy, and it tastes good. It's blueberry and blueberry lemonade Crucian rum with orange juice. But anyways, let's talk about mental abuse. Why is mental abuse so important? I feel like mental abuse is important because a lot of people deal with this on a daily basis, but nobody really talks about it. And a person that has gone through it more than once, I'm willing to talk about it and willing to educate others, tell my behalf of the story. So if you've dealt with mental abuse, you're welcome over here. If you know somebody that's dealing with mental abuse, watch the video, share it to them as well. And if you just want to be a listening ear and you're just really interested on the topic, then of course you can also stay as well. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. So let's talk about from a parent's view, but let's also talk about at the same time their perspective on things. So what I mean by that is, okay, for example, my dad, he's schizophrenic, also dealing with bipolar issues and has narcissistic ways. Okay, boom. Those are the mental illnesses. That does not define him as a person. At the end of the day, he is a loving father. He did care for me the best that he could, given the circumstances. But it was just to a point where I had to separate myself so he can learn how to heal and I could focus on putting myself first more. Dealing with that when I grew up, I definitely took a lot of stuff that he said and did towards me personally. But as I started to heal and talk to more people, I realized that what he was doing was more of an episode and he couldn't really control the things that he was doing or saying. So me taking it personally, it took an effect on me mentally. It hit me really hard. And what I have to say about that is, whatever the person is going through, even if you, for instance, if you deal with depression or you deal with anxiety, bipolar, whatever mental illness that you go through, right? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to be defined as just that. Like, whoever you are is who you are. Like, I am Jaya. No matter what I've been through mentally, I am still me, That does not define me as a person. So to look back and be like, okay, if I don't want people to just see me as this depressed girl or whatever, I cannot pinpoint that on my parent figure and be like, okay, well, they're narcissistic, that's all they are. They have good traits to them. The bad might oversee the good, but there's still the good in there. It's just the stuff that they brought upon you is when they were going through their episodes and they couldn't really help what they were saying or doing. Separating that and trying to take out emotions from how they made you feel can be hard at first. It's not an overnight process. It's not, because I didn't really separate the two until me and my dad stopped talking. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't really made things up with him yet because I'm still learning, how to separate the two and not trying to take things personally. But when I kind of get to that point where I'm not gonna take it personally anymore, or whatever the case may be, then I will start to reach out more. But right now, it's kind of like loving him from a distance. But I just want to touch on that whatever they go through, do not take it personally. It's just their episodes. When they calm down, or when they come to some sensible state, then you could communicate, okay, when you were angry or when you were in this episode, you made me feel this, that, and that. And if they get triggered by that, take a step back and it's like, okay, you got triggered by that. I don't want to get emotionally attached to whatever emotions you're trying to bring upon me. Let me just take a step back. And the first thing of learning with that is taking a step back does not mean that, you love the person less, or you're doing anything wrong, or you feel like you should do more towards the situation, or you're being heartless. Taking a step back is simply so you won't be affected by it as much, and you won't get emotionally charged up because they're in the episode and they don't actually know what they're saying or doing. Because half of the time when my dad was in the episode, and then after we would talk about it, he wouldn't really remember what he said or did, so it's kind of hard to really not take things personal. But the first step is just stepping back and just be like, hey, I'm gonna let you lash out. I'm gonna let you do what you gotta do. Come back to me when you have a sense of, understanding. It's different when they're lashing out on you and they actually know what they're doing at the end of the day. They know they're saying them harmful things. They know the actions that they're taking towards you. Like, they understand what's going on fully. But if they don't understand what's going on fully, you can't really take it personally because they can't control it. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know how they're feeling. They just know that, okay, at this moment I'm being triggered. This is what my mental illness is telling me what to do. Simple as that. And hearing that is kind of hard because it's like, they know what they're doing, da, 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 da. Especially if it's like a narcissist. Oh, they know what they're doing, da, da, da. In some cases, narcissists do know what they're doing. It's up to them, not you. It's up to them to figure out their stuff and know what the hell they doing, know what they need to heal. That's up to them. Leave that up to them. Especially if they're a grown person, especially if they're a significant other. Leave them be. Like, that's up to them, to choose to continue being narcissistic or to heal. But if it's like a serious mental illness like schizophrenia, they can't control what they're doing. They're hallucinating half of the time. And me dealing with that personally, it took me a couple of years to really understand what was going on and not to really take things personally, because I used to take it personally all the time. I used to argue back everything, lash out, all this type of stuff, right? Over the time, learning not to take it personally, it helped me in my healing journey. It helped me in my healing process. It made me realize how they felt about me was just on a mental state that they could not control. At the end of the day, I am my own person. I do not have to listen to what they have to say about me, especially if it's a narcissist. Narcissists are only planting on you what they feel about themselves. So you have to really separate the two and be like, okay, I am my own person at the end of the day. I cannot be controlled. My emotions cannot be controlled. I will not give them the power of controlling my emotions, because once you give somebody the power to control your emotions, they have a grip on you. Until you realize what is going on, they have a strong grip on you, especially when it comes to manipulating you in ways that they want you to participate, So yeah, stepping back, detaching your emotions from that situation, and realizing that what they go through mentally does not define them as a person. For example, my dad was going through all this stuff mentally, but at the end of the day, he would provide for the home. He would go to work, come back home. You know, he did stuff on a physical matter where, like, he would provide the material things like rides to school and field trips and doctor's appointments or whatever. You know, at the end of the day, he's a good father. His mental illness does not define him as a person, even though it plays a huge factor in his personality and how he carries on with certain stuff in his life. That does not define him as a person, and that does not take away from his character. It's just something that he deals with. Lord knows what he's going through mentally and the battles that he's going through emotionally and the thoughts and everyday process. Nobody knows but him, right? But me on the outside that's looking and seeing all the stuff that he's going through and how he's lashing it out, I really have to train myself to not take it personally. Now, saying that, for a point in time, I did take it personally, and you know, it caused me to be depressed. It caused me to have self-esteem. It caused me to people please. It caused me to have a mental illness of my own without no guidance on, you know, why is this really happening? Because I had an idea like, okay, I'm going through this at home. It must have a mental effect on me, but not knowing how to deal with it and not knowing, okay, not to take it personally, I did anyways. Nobody told me, okay, don't take it personally. I just thought, okay, he should know better. Like, he's the adult in the situation. He's the father. I shouldn't have to be going through this as a child. Like, why is he punishing me? Why does he feel these ways about me? But at the end of the day, that's not really how he feels. His mind is manipulating him to make him feel that way, but that's not really how he feels. Dealing with that now, and then like going out into the world and thinking like most people are the same, especially when it comes to relationships. That's exactly where I led myself into. I led myself into a relationship where it was a familiar feeling with the abuse, and I continued on the same cycle until I realized I have to detach myself from these energies, because it could come to a point in time where you're dealing with these energies, yes, but they're also taking away from you. They may be feeling sad or whatever, and then they take it on you, and it's like you consume that energy. Especially if you're an empath, you consume that energy, and now you feel drained. You feel like, okay, you have to cater to their needs first, and then I'll cater to mine. It's no really emotional support on your end. You're doing all the supporting towards them, but they're not supporting you, and that is a mental strain on its own. Not only that, but you're tiptoeing around those person's feelings so you won't trigger them, and it's now, okay, I have to put myself on the bottom so I won't trigger them, and you know, so forth and so forth. It's a mental strain on both parties. For them, because they can't control it, even though they might want to do better, they can't control it. It's like an impulsive thing for them. They may want to stop it. They may want to control it at some points. That's why when they're calm, like, okay, they want to make amends. They want to hug. They want to cook food for you. They want to do all this stuff without really saying sorry, because they don't really understand what's going on mentally themselves. And you not understanding what's going on mentally either, you're a product of their abuse. So not only are, because they're dealing with the abuse themselves eternally, and you're dealing with it externally. So on both parties, it's really draining. I don't know. It's like, it's kind of nerve-wracking to talk about all this, because just last night I was realizing what I actually been through mentally dealing with stuff like this. And as soon as you hear, okay, don't take it personally, it's like, okay, but what about me? Like, I'm in effects of this too. Like, I have to deal with the yelling. I have to deal with the screaming. In other cases, I have to deal with the physical abuse, right? What about me? What about my emotions? Why can't, I feel bad for myself? Why can't, like stuff like that. And it's okay. It really is okay to be angry at the person. It's okay to be like, I don't want to deal with this person anymore, because that's what I did. I realized I can't deal with those emotions. I can't deal with the emotional roller coasters anymore. I have to finally cater to myself, and that's what I did. I separated myself with those energies, and that is okay. As long as you're doing it with love, like, okay, think about it. I'm loving them from a distance. There's nothing wrong with that. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. I love my father from a distance, most definitely. Even though I don't talk to him as much anymore, or really take the time to sort out his feelings or whatever the case may be. I still love him from a distance, but now it's come to a point in time where I have to focus on myself. I have to separate myself from the trauma, because it's like a load, like a burden is on you. But basically, what I want to say is, be aware of their feelings and be aware of your feelings without fully attaching. Learn to detach from your emotions from the situation, so you could be like, okay, they may have done this or that, don't take it personally. And at the end of the day, it's your choice if you want to continue to deal with it, or however you want to maneuver through that. Like, if you want to continue to deal with it, but it's okay, like, I want to move myself from the situation, but I'll reach out to them a certain amount of times and check up on them. That's you. If you want to cut that out of your life completely, that's also you. If you want to continue to stick with that, because at the end of the day, you're probably not taking it personally at the end of the day, and you still want to cater to them, that's also you at the end of the day. But also, what I'm saying is, look out for your emotions as well. Look out for how it affects you as well, because you may be dealing with a parent in a situation, and you may be going through stuff in your own life and wondering, why doesn't my relationships work out, or why am I always crying? Why do I distance myself from people? Why are my emotions all over the place all of a sudden? Just take in that whatever you're dealing with at home has a play on that. That's all I'm really saying. And now, coming from a mental abusive household and looking for love, not recognizing those patterns right away of mental abuse, because at the moment you don't really realize you're being mentally abused until you step away from the situation. That's how it was for me. I didn't fully grasp what was going on until I fully stepped out of the situation. It was like, okay, now it's time for me to heal. But in that process where I didn't know what was going on, I was still looking for love. I was still looking for other friendships or whatever the case may be to validate my emotions, for somebody to support me instead of me supporting them. But if you don't know how to do that, you're going to step into the same cycle of supporting another person, which goes into the relationship part. The reason why I stepped into a relationship like that is because, I couldn't really get to my father's head at that point to make him see that, like, I'm worth it, I'm worth loving, I'm worth catering to. So I stepped into a relationship thinking, okay, this person is gonna give me what I'm looking for, but not realizing the burdens that I was carrying on, and not realizing that I was being mentally abused. I stepped into a relationship and it caused a trauma bond, and I went through the same cycle again. So before you really step into the world and be like, okay, I want somebody to cherish me, cherish yourself first, heal yourself first. Realize that you are mentally abused and you need to heal from this in order to feel whole in yourself again, if you ever did at one point. It can be hard. I took almost like 2 years to heal. from my mental abuse. And even just the other day, I was learning not to take it personally, and I stepped away from the situations like about a year or two ago, you know? So it takes time. It really does take time. But the effects on it can be depression, it can be anxiety, it could be people pleasing, it could be trauma bonds, it could be unhealthy relationships, it could be unhealthy relationship with yourself, family members, not just, romantic. And the first step in that is just recognizing, okay, I was mentally abused. What can I take from this? What can I learn from this? And that's just the first step. If you need to go to therapy because you feel like, you can't pinpoint everything by yourself, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with therapy. Therapy didn't work for me personally, so I just went on a whole self-discovery thing with spirit and the universe and God, and now I'm here today. But everybody works different. Your external life is not gonna show up in the results that you want it to unless your internal life looks something like love. You have to love yourself first, and that's not meaning like the material things, like I gotta buy myself flowers and I gotta go on solo dates by myself. But no, self-love really means catering to yourself mentally, because that was affected in the first place. Cater to yourself mentally by going to therapy, by meditating, by finding a higher source that's bigger than you. It could be the universe, it could be your higher self, it could be God itself, it could be another religion, it could be just meditating. But whatever it is, cater to your mental first, because that's what that was affected in your life in the first place. Once you cater to yourself mentally, then your material world will start to catch up. Your physical body will start to catch up. You can't really feel those emotions. You can't really feel happiness until you fix what's going up here first. And as for that loved one, see if you could get them to get some type of help, whether it's like, taking them to a mental hospital, even though like it may seem like far stretch, but if they're at that point where they can't really help themselves, you might have to call them to a mental hospital or tell them that they should go to therapy. Or if they can't go to therapy, one thing you could also do is another thing where in order to save people, you have to save yourself first. Just like on the airplane, what they tell you to do, put on your mask first and then help the other person. Same thing in real life. Step away from the situation, heal yourself first so you can go back and heal that person, help that person. Like, hey, I'm healed now. I'm not gonna take your episodes personally, so I can help you now. If you feel like therapy is not for them, or you want to help them personally, help yourself first and then you can help them. But I hope this video was not all over the place too much. I try to make it as much sense as possible. It's a hard topic for me to really touch on because I'm not fully healed from the situation, but I'm like at my last few steps. So it's an everyday process, but just be patient with yourself, be patient with that person, and everything will turn out okay. I hope this advice or storyline, whatever you took from this, I hope it helped, and I will see you on the next episode.